Well, defensively and offensively, for that matter, in the first half we played awesome. But it's a tribute to a young team to come back. We had nice momentum taking the lead, and then we made two crucial mistakes where our three-man ran to the wrong side of the zone and we gave up 2 threes, and they made it. They're going to be an excellent basketball team. They're going to get better and better and better. And John's the right guy to get them better. He's a hell of a coach. Great win for us because we had to battle a lot of bad foul trouble. And we survived with good plays from Shane and Russ. But the defense and the offense in the first half was spectacular. And then we just lost our defensive presence in the second half because we were worried about foul trouble.
We're talking about the Russ and what he make all those layups he scored.
You know, because he's not a so-called McDonald's All-American or a guy that was heavily recruited. Russ actually, when I recruited him, lied to me about who was recruiting him. You think about this, he wasn't recruited by one Big East school. Not one. Not for the metropolitan areas. There's 4 schools in that area. Not one. And basically, you look at a player, and we got lucky in two ways. One, Ralph Willard said you have to take him, and I had great confidence in Ralph Willard as an evaluator of talent. And 2, he was going to transfer, and his dad said, I want him to stick another year. His dad's a good buddy of mine, so he wanted to stick it out. And I said, okay, I'm going to make him a 2-guard. And we went to the Bahamas, and the day we made him a 2-guard, we had one of the best players in the country. And he also comes in and does a very good job of 1, but when he's got to do all of that, it's too much. So we've got one of the premier players in the country, and he wasn't even recruited. So there's 2 ways sometimes to get great players, and the Francisco Garcias of the world and the Russ Smiths of the world turned out to be great ones for us.
Rick, you know the three-point shot and what it can mean better than anybody. Wiltshire's 2 threes, how much of a restorative thing do you think that was?
It was great, but I have to tell you, Jerry, I give a lot of credit to him. It was bonehead plays by us because it's very simple. You run to the 3-man side in the zone, the 4-man runs to the 4-man side, and the 5 runs down the middle. Now, sometimes you could lose your man, but when you're in zone, it's impossible. So it was a couple of really bad plays by inexperienced players by us, but also a great testament to him.
Peyton Siva, is it just a cramp? Do we know?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Rick, how sweet was this one after the last couple of years, then certainly having your number and having more talent?
Well, this is the first year. I mean, we don't have the number in the draft that they have per se, but I thought this, I told the CBS guys before the game, I thought this was the first year that we had as much talent as them. And quite frankly, I thought we had more talent than them because our talent is more experienced. They're going to be a great team come February. But we're also very young in certain areas. Gorky's hardly played. And a lot of our guys are going to get better. But I really do say this, and I don't say it in victory. I said it even in defeat. I marvel at what he does with young players. I marvel at that, how much. Because 2 weeks ago, quite frankly, I didn't think they were a very good basketball team. And now they're a hell of a basketball team. So they have really, in just a 2-week span, really improved. But we did a great job on their bigs. We did a great job with our press. But unlike last year, we were the lowest field goal percentage team in 50 years to go to a Final Four. I think our offense is much better this year. I don't know what we shot for the game, but 48%. And against a good defensive team that holds their opponents, I believe, to a plus 11, I think 11-7 differential field goal offense and field goal defense. That's very, very good. And both halves were the same, 48-48. And we did a good, we didn't turn the ball over either, with the exception of a couple of plays down the stretch. Overall, I'm delighted. We made a couple of really bad plays down the stretch in our zone, but outside of that, we were very good.
Rick, how happy were you with Gorky's ability to get involved and be impactful in first game back in such a big game?
Yeah, I knew he'd be back. We worked him really hard for 10 days. I mean, he's in much better shape than the other guys. The only thing he was missing was his timing defensively. And but he's back now. It's going to really help us. In the interim, you know, John said this before the game. He said, "You guys really got better without him," and they did. And we still won. We have played now Northern Iowa, Illinois State, at Memphis, Duke. We've played Charleston after they beat Baylor, and then we just come in now and play Kentucky. Now we still got to play Syracuse twice, Notre Dame twice, Cincinnati, and so we're sort of in the meat grind a little bit.
the attitude that we haven't played with today, does that rub off on the rest of the guys?
You know, someday he's going to have the opportunity to answer that question himself.
Did he blow you a kiss after the reverse dunk? Did you see
I
that?
don't know. I didn't catch the kiss, but he.
So his ban is still in effect?
Kenny, let's take it off tonight. Let's take it off tonight, okay? He had a great game. Let him talk, okay? Please tell him to settle down if he gets too carried away, okay? So tell him not to say anything. We got a lot of games coming up. But why don't you go tell him now? He's probably gone.
Rick, what are your impressions of Harrow and what he means to Kentucky? Is he a big part of why they're better over the last 2 weeks?
You know, I still think he has a lot of room for improvement. You know, I really do. I think he's going to get better and better. I think we did a really good job on Nerlens Noel. I watched him on tape in pick and roll situations, and they just throw the ball anywhere near the rim, and he comes and gets it. And he does it with his left hand, right hand, big steal guy, big shot blocker with both hands, very good passer. You know, and he's going to be the #1 pick in the draft someday, you know, because I know the pro guys, you draft on potential. It's not taken away from the young man Zella from Indiana. He may be one, and Earl's me too, whoever they pick. But since I did such a great job drafting with the Celtics, I would probably too.
Rick, can you comment a little more on what you got out of Shane today?
He's been playing very good basketball. I mean, Wayne didn't have one of his good games. Wayne is a little confused with all the different defenses and all different traps. He got a little confused tonight, and I think he thought we were up 20 when he took that three. And so we're going to get his eyes checked today. Doc is waiting outside. I think he thought we were up 20.
What's Shane? What you got out of Shane?
He's playing very well. He's a warrior. He's a good player. I think everybody's always asked me the way I think any of the guys can go. We're going to let him give it a shot and see what he can do at the next level, certainly, because he's really improving, getting better. He was fundamentally a very weak player last year. Now he's fundamentally a very good player this year. So he uses his body well, has a great mid-range game. He rebounds well in traffic.
Rick, what did you think of?
Peyton made a crucial mistake, and he said, Coach, you said he's 90% driving, he only took 18 threes on the year. I said, Peyton, it's all time and score sign. Everybody's a three-point shooter at the end of the game, so you can't go under the screen. And he made a big shot for them. He's a very good basketball player. Very good basketball player. I like him a lot.
Can you talk about the decision to start Zach?
I just felt the defensive timing of Gorky was the only thing missing. And I felt sometimes early in the game, you call little bumping fouls. He gets one, he loses his aggressive, he gets two. As it was, he did sit, and Zach has not hurt us at all. So I was just afraid early on, just buy us 2 or 3 minutes. But as it turned out, it didn't work anyway.
Rick, you said Kentucky is much better than they were 2 weeks ago than you thought they were. What was better? What did you see?
Well, I just saw better passing, better defense, better execution. I think they're in better shape. Like I said earlier, it takes a certain skill to coach young guys. To me, one of the most fun I had, when I was at Kentucky was, spending all those years with those players. You're cramming all the time with young guys. I mean, look at Wayne Blackshear. He's a sophomore tonight. He made 2 really difficult plays down the stretch where he didn't do the right thing. And it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. And it's very difficult to do with a new group all the time. And he does it better than any of us could do. I wouldn't want to do it, but he does it better than everybody.
Rick, you were talking about Gordy's defensive timing, but then he obviously blocked that 3. I mean, did he kind of get it as the game went on?
Well, it's more the inside movements. Like his second foul, I don't know if he knows, he went by him and he didn't move, he lunged. So he's good at closing out. And we did a really good job of making free throws down the stretch. And we said, look, if we have to put Cauley to the line, put him to the line. We wanted, and twice we went in too early, but we still got the rebound.
How important was that block that Gordy had, or how?
It's in a rivalry game, it's always going to be a close game to a certain degree. But I'm real proud of our team's victory. But we really made some bad defensive plays by not being in the right spot at the end, and they capitalized on it.
You kind of downplayed this rivalry game for this time of the year. now that it's over with? What does it mean for your team in the grand scheme?
You know, I really mean it. When I was at Kentucky, I was the same way. It's a real important game for the fans. For us, we want to beat Kentucky, but not as much as the fans do. Now, when I had Feldhaus and Pelfrey and Farmer, they wanted to beat. I mean, they got like Mr. Bill got very upset. Our guys have great respect for Kentucky. They want to beat them, but we got the Big East coming up, and we do want to win the game. But for us, it's not like that. I don't coach like that. We didn't prepare any different. We have great respect for them. There's no bitterness. We don't ever denigrate Kentucky. We don't ever say anything bad about Kentucky. And I personally would never do that. So we don't, you know, the easiest thing in the world is to denigrate someone. You know, I listen to, it's only 5% of the Louisville fans or 5% of Kentucky fans that do it. You know, the rest of it, you know, like I said yesterday, they're all married to each other. They live comfortably, you know, so they have children together. So it's, you know, now, they get in this building, you know, they get in this building. I remember Freedom Hall with, you know, Go Big Blue at the end, and if they come alive. Fortunately, tonight they never came alive for us.
Rick, early in the second half, how well did you guys? I'm sorry. How well did you guys scramble the game at that point when you built up the 17-point lead?
We were playing great, but what happens to teams that live by the pressure and the denial, and you get in foul trouble, now suddenly you lose. It's like you let all the air out of a balloon, and you lose all your intensity, and that's what happened to us, and we can't let that happen. We had to keep substituting to keep Peyton in the game. We need Peyton and Russ in there for free throws. And I said this to CBS, you know, you watch him when he plays, and Greg Anthony said, you know, he made a lot of bad defensive plays at the end, but then he comes down and makes a great play. And, you know, he said, how can he go through all of that and be that poised at the end, and even after he makes a mistake, he doesn't get frazzled? And I said, you know, it's easy, and I mean this sincerely. He's sedated in the asylum for most of the day. We let him out at 4 o'clock. And then we put him, he's got to be back by 8 o'clock. So he's very sedated until about 6 o'clock, and then he comes out of it. Today he left the sedation at about 2 o'clock. So he's out of his freaking mind. It's crazy. And there's not a player I don't think I've enjoyed coaching more than him. So he's just the greatest to coach. But
A couple more for Coach.
How happy are you with where your team is right now, coming out of the first segment, heading into Big East play, and you lost Gordon for so many games and still just won one?
yeah, I think we're playing great because we have a great backcourt. And then, probably Wayne didn't play well tonight, but take that away, he was playing well. Shane's now picked it up, Wayne's picked it up, Kevin Ware's playing better. But the reason we're off to such a good start is I think, you know, we don't get mentioned that way, but I've been coaching too long. It's one of the premier backcourts in the country because they make free throws, they make plays, they can run pick and rolls, they're very quick on the press. So you're not going to find a better backcourt than Peyton Sieve and Russ Smith.
John said yesterday that you asked him, you're the favorite, odds-on favorite to win it all. Do you feel like that puts any pressure when he says something?
Forget about all those nice things I said about John. Say it again, I'm sorry. That's the ending.
Just that puts any pressure, just kind of what you just said.
You know, I think he truly has respect for us. I think he likes our team. But last year's team, we did it with solely defense. And there are certain nights that your defense is not going to be there, and you got to win with offense. You know, we did it at Memphis, and that's a good thing this year. We've got much more offensive firepower than last year. We did it all with defense last year and confusing people, and then this year we've got good inside play, got very good basketball players. We've got about 8 or 9 deep that can flat out play.
Any concern about Luke's game at all?
Yes and no. I don't give him a whole lot of playing time right now because he was a guy, he was in the wrong spot a couple of times, and it's new to him. But he can really play. He can play the game, and like at the end I had him, if we got to get a pass in, we got to shoot a free throw, got to make the right play, I'm going to put him in. But you know, I'm probably with him because he doesn't know the system as well, not as comfortable as I am with say Russ, because he doesn't know where to go in certain plays. But no, I don't really. I think he's a terrific guy coming in off the bench. And I would play him a little bit more in certain situations, but we needed Wayne's physicality tonight.
Rick, your best Kentucky teams played hard on defense. You subbed them almost like hockey shifts. Do you see that happening with this team now since you have all this depth? Or eventually, is that what you're looking for?
I think so, but we can't lose our intensity like we did tonight. I understand Peyton and Russ saying we got 4, foul out, we're going to lose the game. So I understand that aspect of it. But you can't, we did a lot of good things defensively in the first half. I thought we were brilliant in the first half on offense and defense. and we played through it, and we did. So yeah, I think this team is very deep. We're not afraid to use people. I think Kentucky's going to be very deep before it's through. You're going to see tremendous improvement from them. They're going to go like this. And I think, quite frankly, I don't think we're anywhere near our potential. Because you just said about Luke, you got Luke, you got Kevin, you got Wayne. Now Shane's come up to Russ Smith and Peyton Sievers. Then you're going to have Gorky come up. Gorky's a hell of a basketball player. Very, very smart young man. Very intelligent young man. So he knows how to make the right plays at the right time.
Thanks, Coach.
Everybody have a happy New Year.